Good morning, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to a very quiet EPCOT. Listen. There's no music playing this morning, which is something I've never experienced before. So today we're here at the park super early for rope drop. I wanted to take you around, show you what to expect here at this park. As we've talked about in some of our past videos, all 4 of the theme parks here at Walt Disney World have a different process when it comes to rope drop in the morning. So it's gonna look a little bit different every single park that you go to. So today I wanna show you what it looks like here at EPCOT, give you an idea of what to expect, and tell you some of my tips for making the most out of your day here. Because look, I've said it before, I'll say it again, rope drop is a great way to go if you're visiting the parks. It's a great way to get ahead of the crowds, cut down on some wait times, and it's a great way to save some money because sometimes you can get a lot done arriving this early, and that means you can avoid buying Genie Plus. Anyway, let's flip you around and show you what to expect. I honestly though, I can't get over how quiet it is. It's so weird. Now here at EPCOT, once the turnstiles open, everyone can enter the park, whether you're staying at a Walt Disney World Resort hotel and have access to early theme park entry or not. There's the music. Much better. Anyway, the separation of guests is actually going to happen up by Spaceship Earth, so we're going to make our way over now. And when I talk about the separation of guests, what I'm talking about are guests who are staying at a Walt Disney World Resort hotel or another qualifying resort who have access to early theme park entry. They can get into the parks 30 minutes before day guests. And then of course there's everyone else who has to wait until the park officially opens. Now if you're staying at a Walt Disney World hotel or another qualifying resort, when you make your way into the park, what you want to do is keep an eye out for these signs. Cast members are holding signs that are going to show you where to go for early entry, and it's usually off to the right. So as you can see right here, we have a cast member holding that sign, and we just followed that sign all the way back, and that leads us this direction. So it's far right today, where you'll go see the cast members, and they will check your credentials and make sure that you can get in for that early theme park entry. Now what those cast members are gonna do are tap your magic band or your ticket media, make sure that you're good to go, check the size of your party, and you'll be on your way. But if you're not a guest staying at a Walt Disney World Resort hotel or another participating hotel, you're gonna have to wait for the park to open, like I mentioned, and that means you wanna make your way over to the left. Now here on the left side, you'll see that there's a rope with a line of people more often than not. And this is where all other guests are gonna stand. So that'll be day guests like me or anyone who's not staying at a Walt Disney World Resort hotel or other participating hotel. But do you need to stand right there? That's the question. While we could definitely stand over there and wait out the clock for the park to open to day guests, I tend to spend my time right here, sitting on this ledge, or my absolute favorite spot is over here on one of these benches, which is where we're headed today. Now, if you arrive early like I did today, these benches are usually unoccupied, so you can just pull off and sit down. They're under cover, which is nice. You won't be in the sun, and you have a spectacular view. I mean, just look at it. Isn't it just gorgeous? Now we've got some time to kill, so we're gonna sit here and hang out for a bit, maybe have a little bit of breakfast, but there are still a few things that I wanna talk about. So just like at other parks, it's important to keep in mind that just because early entry enters on the far right doesn't mean that you can't enter on the far right once the park opens to day guests. This doesn't so much matter here at this park like it will at other parks, for example, like at Magic Kingdom, because everyone is pretty much entering the park underneath Spaceship Earth. So you'll be able to bob and weave once the rope drops to whichever side you want to go to. Now, most people who are here for rope drop are going to be making their way to Cosmic Rewind or over to the Frozen attraction in Norway. This, combined with the fact that a lot of guests feel like they have to enter through that left side if they're not here for early theme park entry, means that that side can get pretty crowded, especially on the route toward Cosmic Rewind and Mission Space. So I do think if you're here for rope drop, it can be a wise decision to make your way toward the right if you want to avoid those crowds. But for the most part, especially now that things have opened up and some of the construction walls are down, it's definitely not the same as it once was and not as congested as it once was. So it's not terrible. Not the most comfortable situation, but definitely not terrible. Now, in terms of strategy, I think it's important to keep in mind that Cosmic Rewind does require a virtual queue. So it doesn't really make sense to stand at the front of the line in an attempt to run toward Cosmic Rewind first thing in the morning. It's also important to keep in mind that unlike Magic Kingdom, where early theme park entry guests won't have access to the whole park, that's not really the case here at EPCOT. So standing at that front of the line in order to run toward Frozen Ever After isn't really going to help you out. or at very least, it might cause you some unnecessary stress first thing in the morning, which could easily be avoided. Now, I still think that there is benefit to arriving early to this park. I know some people say that there isn't. They don't necessarily feel like it's worth coming here first thing in the morning. I disagree, especially if you don't have early theme park entry, and if you're going to be driving yourself, it can be nice to rope drop because you get better parking, and that cuts back on some costs because you don't have to pay for preferred parking, which is nice. It'll definitely help at the end of the day. And once you get in, which you can do with avoiding some crowds at security or at the turnstiles, you can just hang out and enjoy your morning, which is a great way to enjoy breakfast, have a coffee. It's a nice way to start your day. So I do still recommend rope dropping, even if you can't be one of the first people in the park with early theme park entry. I also find that getting here for rope drops still allows you to get on a number of attractions before they end up having long lines. This is especially true for some of the attractions that aren't the premier attractions. Like I said, people are going to be running toward Frozen Ever After. Ratatouille, that's another one here. Now, there is a gate at the back of the park as well. We're not talking about that today, but we can in the future. That's only going to be accessible to people who are staying at EPCOT area resorts or Skyliner resorts, or people who park at Hollywood Studios and then want to make their way over, which you can do by simply walking. It's a nice walk first thing in the morning, but it is a lot of walking to start your day. But those people are going to have the best advantage when it comes to rope dropping Ratatouille because it's so close to that entrance. So when it comes to the most popular attractions at this park, you're definitely at a bit of a disadvantage, but that means that you can get on some of those other attractions really easily. And I do think it's worth taking the time to do that, especially if you want to enjoy the festival activities later in the day. Now, of course, once the rope drops, we can all go into the park and start our day, which should happen here in a few minutes. But I think that pretty much says it for what you need to know about rope drops, some of my tips and tricks, at least for rope drop here at EPCOT. I want to hear what you have to say though. Do you rope drop EPCOT? Why do you? Why don't you? I know there are a lot of people who won't rope drop EPCOT, especially because they want to be here for the festival activities, and those don't open up until 11, sometimes around 10:30. Nonetheless, I still think it's worth it, but I want to know what you think. Tell me all about it in a comment down below. Also, while you're there, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe so you don't miss any of our other adventures. We've always got something going on and you don't want to miss it. Until then, thanks so much for hanging out with me this morning. I know it was a quick one, but I hope that this answered your questions and gave you some of the information that you might have been looking for. But for now, I think I'm gonna have some breakfast and get my day started. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.